Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and this is the Asus Zenfone 2, which is a 5.5-inch smartphone, sells for about $199 and up. I'll have more details on the phone itself in another video after I've had more of a chance to test it, but I wanted to talk about the back of the phone, or rather the removable rear panel. It looks like brushed metal on this particular model, but it's actually plastic, and it's fairly easy to remove, and you can replace it with different color and textures. And there's a $40 accessory called the View Flip Cover Deluxe, which Asus sells, and it protects the front and back of the device and gives you a couple of new features. So let's take a look at how that works. There's a sort of spot here for your thumbnail or fingernail, and you can just sort of reach into that and pull and open up the phone case. And once you take off the cover, you have access to the SD card slot and 2 SIM card slots. It's a dual SIM phone. The battery is not removable, but it's nice to have access to these features, I suppose. And putting a new cover on is even easier than taking an old one off. You just sort of position it and press down on all of the corners. Now, once you've done that, you can tap to turn on the screen, or you can turn off the display, close the lid, and then open the lid, and the screen should spring to life. So that's the first feature, is you can turn on and off the phone sort of by opening the lid. And then when you close it, you have access to this little widget area that gives you a couple of different ways to view your data. So let's take a look at some of those different options. First, you've got this sort of time and date, missed calls, messages, and email messages. And it only stays up for a moment. Now, if you don't use the default apps, like I use the Gmail app and I use Texter for text messaging, you're going to see a lot of zeros there. So it's of limited utility, but it could work for some people. You can switch to a sort of analog clock if you'd rather. Oops, there's the calendar. I personally prefer the digital. We've got a calendar. There's a flashlight. We can toggle airplane, interruption, sound, and we can adjust the screen for this little sort of circle app area. Forecast, and you can scroll up for more detailed information. You can actually turn the camera on and off and snap a picture. And then finally, Magic 8 Ball. Now, if you don't want to have to sort of swipe back and forth to access all of these things, you can actually drag your finger around the sides and go straight to the widget you want. There's the forecast. Let's go to the flashlight. And another thing that you might notice here is that there's, maybe a little hard to see on the camera, but there's a little sort of ring going around the side there that doesn't go all the way around, and that's because that's my battery meter and shows how much battery life I have left. It's sort of a light blue color right now, and that means that we've still got a fair amount of runtime, but it'll start to turn red as we run out of juice. So information at a glance in a whole bunch of different ways, the ability to sort of turn your phone on and off, and screen protection. This is a little plastic cover here that, even though you can touch through it, it does have sort of that plastic protecting the screen as well as the cover itself. It doesn't take up a lot of space since it slaps right onto the back where a normal cover would, and it's got a nice little grippy texture. We do have access to the camera, the flash. There's a little speaker cutout here and at the top. So there you go. That's what you get for about $40. Might even be able to find it a little bit less. It's one of the accessories offered for the Zenfone 2 is the View Flip Cover Deluxe from Asus. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing.